Max Payn by Richard Jimbo and Victor Drizginsky, with illustrations by Victor Drizginsky, 2005, as translated from Russian. Part 1. Chapter 1. The Abduction. In the old, dark, gritty, cold, stinky, humid, foggy, faraway city of New York, somewhere on Coney Street, there lived a cop, or perhaps a secret agent, called Max Payn. You may be asking, why is he a cop? And we will answer, because he works in a police department. And then you may be asking, why is he a secret agent? But frankly, we don't know either. Mr. Payn lived in a cozy two-bedroom apartment with his wife Lily and their 2 children, but for the sake of this story, we won't be counting them. Trust us when we say that children are a major headache to write for us authors, so we'd rather skip over them. It isn't exactly pleasant for us to write a story only to get letters from angry people who claim to be parents of 5 or 6 children and say, "That's not how kids behave." And even then, we're not BBC. Please stop writing us letters. We won't read them anyway. Where were we? Yes. One cold Friday night, on the 13th of October, Max came home from work. He drove his Ford Mustang up to his property and parked it halfway up the driveway as he usually did. He had quite the tiresome day and he was hungry and quite honestly irritated with his lousy co-workers, but the prospect of coming home to his loving family, finally being able to relax and watch the telly, lightened his mood on the way back. He turned his key in the designated keyhole and pushed the sturdy door to his apartment. What did he see upon entering? Well, he didn't see anything. He couldn't, because the lights were off. It was most peculiar that the lights were off. Usually if his family was home, the lights weren't off. But right now they were, in fact, off. Strange, Max thought. The lights are off. Pouring his way up the wall like a blind cat, he reached the light switch and flipped it. The reader might think that he was relieved upon seeing the lamps flicker to life, but the reader would be wrong. What Max saw terrified him. What the hell did he see? He saw that the apartment was completely empty. This seemed even stranger to him. Lily didn't plan a trip to the local mall today. Max Payn shouted, "Honey, I'm home." Needless to say, nobody responded to him. He was just about to hang his jacket up on the coat rack when his gaze fell onto the drawer below. There was a note with terrible handwriting on it. He picked it up and brought it closer to his face, trying to make out the words, and the more he struggled, the more his lower lip slid down. The note read, "Oi Max, yours are at Alf's place. You want to see them? Come to Scott Street number 6. What the fuck? Payn said in disbelief. The note fell from his hand as he reached into his jacket for his pistol. It was there all right, locked and loaded. Max ran down the stairs and hopped into his Mustang. The car dashed off, and in just a few moments he was flying down the road. Chapter 2. The Payn. He arrived at Scott Street in half an hour. Max braked his car dramatically in front of a sign that read "No Parking." It'd be a good time to mention that Mr. Payn only chose to drive 4 cars because he was an American and a raging patriot. He kicked the front door open and began ascending the staircase. Payn came to a landing with 4 doors, but the professional cop could easily tell where Lily's kidnappers were hiding. He pulled the door off its hinges with guns blazing and found the bathroom. "Piece of shit!" he exclaimed. "Well," Payn told himself, "I'm not here for nothing, am I just—" And with relief, he relieved himself. But the clock was ticking and he had to continue his searches, and so he did. Max heard voices behind one door and decided to listen in. "Oh no, no, no," a high-pitched woman's voice sounded. "Yes," a booming voice replied. Boom! It was a gunshot, and everything went quiet. Courageously, Max entered the room. It was a regular old room, a couple beds, floral curtains over the window, paintings and posters adorning the walls, a trail of blood on the floor and... Wait, a trail of blood? The lone cop followed this trail through a suspicious-looking door. When he opened it, he was terrified. He saw his lovely wife's corpse. "Oh, Lily!" Max Payn exclaimed in pain as he dropped to his knees. "No, not like this! Shed, never!" He aimed the pistol at his own temple and was just about to pull the trigger when some creep came out of the closet opposite with a gun in his hand. He pointed his gun at Max, but the latter simply turned his own weapon 90 degrees and shot the assailant. The man fell like a drunkard and died shortly after. "That's what you get, you prick!" Payn exclaimed. It was then that a brilliant idea struck him to avenge Lily's death. Excellent. Well, let's start right here, he told himself. Our failed Othello kicked the prick's body a couple times before taking his shotgun with pride. Chapter 3. Fresh Vengeance. It didn't take long for Max to start putting his plan into action. The building had another staircase leading down. It looked dirty and shabby, and just as Max descended it, he found himself in a large hall where tons of pricks were sitting around long tables. They were smoking, drinking whiskey, and playing poker. One of the pricks saw Max and shouted, "Get down, boys! The Russians are coming!" Immediately, the pricks turned in their seats and pointed their pistols at Max Payn. But it isn't as easy to kill a cop as you might think, especially if you also might be a secret agent. Max performed Jack Leaper's famous trick, and with one grand leap, he hid behind a stack of crates. And what did he have in his hands? A shotgun. The pricks started dying one after another. 1, 2, 3, Max counted. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 20. Yes, he shouted when the last prick was no more. But I'm not done here yet. There was a door at the end of this hall, and the lone cop walked towards it with badass action movie hero's gait. Chapter 4. The Sacks. Max Payn kicked the door open and found himself at a subway station. He figured it was a subway because there were railroad tracks going through the tunnel. The lone cop decided to follow them. The tunnel was dark, so he kept scraping the wall with the barrel of his pistol in case there was anything interesting there, and his intuition proved itself to be worthy, as he soon found a suspicious-looking door, which he immediately entered. It was some sort of small maintenance room, and there was a prick standing in the middle of it. He was about to say something unsavory, but Max quickly shut him up, with his gun no less. Stepping over the body, the relentless Avenger went further down the corridor. The corridor was ordained with glass windows that displayed caches of gold and diamond among other valuable things, and Payn quickly realized that he was inside of a vault. And if that's the case, there should be cops somewhere nearby. And if that's the case, then... His train of thought was cut short by a prick appearing out of nowhere, except this one was unarmed. "No, no," he said, showing Max his empty palms. Payn decided to follow him. "This guy's useless. Should I shoot him?" Payn asked himself. He did so nonchalantly. "Ah, you prick!" the prick shouted and died. An alarm began ringing obnoxiously, and Max found it weird that the alarm activated just now. Max exited the corridor, and he found himself, of course, terrified. He saw a whole gang of pricks ganging up around a tight woman on the floor who was wearing an FBI uniform. Boom, bang, and the pricks were no more. Max Payn was just about to shoot the woman as well, but she suddenly spoke. "Hey, I know you." "So what? I don't know you." "Your name is Max Payn, and you're in the police force." "Wow, where'd you get that from, lady?" "My name is Mona Sachs. The last name is spelled with an A, don't get it wrong like some people do. Anyway, I'm also a police officer. Can you help me out?" Max Payn untied her. Mona got up and continued. "Thanks, I won't forget this. Oh, also, was it you who shot a man over there in the vault? He was wearing all black and he wasn't armed." Yeah, that was me. Why?" Mona's tone hardened instantly. "Understandable. See you later." With that, she entered an elevator and pressed the button. Payn thought, "Nah, I should have taken care of her. She knows too much about me already." But the elevator was already gone. Chapter 5. The Telegram. Payn kept going further. The alarm wouldn't shut the fuck up. He wanted to shut it off oh so badly, but didn't know how. Max ran into a security office. A prick sat at the computer playing Tarzan. "Hey, get lost, you asshole," the prick told Max, and shortly fell with a bullet in his head. "No, you," Max replied to the corpse. Suddenly, the computer screen flashed. Tarzan was gone, and there was a big note on the screen reading, "Max Payn, this is your own fault. You just signed your own death warrant. Like it and don't blame me. MS." What the hell is this? Max Payn thought to himself. What am I at fault for? It surely is not my fault these pricks forced me to avenge Lily. Who the hell is this MS? Alright, so I have to leg it, but where and why? He remembered that the lady he saved left in an elevator, but by this point he had forgotten which room it was in. He ran out of his security office and then noticed a door he hadn't noticed before. It was looking a little too suspicious. Max pushed it very carefully and nothing happened. He pushed it a little harder and nothing happened again. Payn could now punch and kick the door all he wanted because nothing kept happening, but he wanted to see what was behind it. The special cop agent went back and grabbed an explosive off of one of the pricks. He hurled it at the door while performing Jack Leaper's famous trick. The door flew off its hinges, and Max finally went through. The door, or rather the doorway, led to another room. There was a prick armed with a pistol there who was about to murder a man. By pure reflex, Max shot him. The prick fell, and the man said, "You saved me, man." "Ah!" he shouted, after Max shot him as well. The cop was a little more careful now because he didn't want that Mona Sachs situation to happen again. Seeing that there was nothing to do in this room, Payn left. But something made him change his mind. He thought, what if that dude wanted to pay me for saving him? Wouldn't hurt to go check on him. Payn entered the room again and found himself terrified. He saw that the man was alive and well, about to be murdered by a prick who was also alive and well. In terror, Max shot both of them at the same time with the same bullet. "Ah!" the man shouted, falling over. "You saved me, man." The secret cop didn't know what to do or think. Meanwhile, the dying man had in him a note. The note read, "Telegram to Max Payn, very urgent. Hunting you, wanting kill you, stop. Come to hotel down the street, talk to Alex, stop." "Alrighty then," Max drawled. "So, someone's hunting me, wanting kill me, stop. Yeah, I wonder why. You signed your own. Will be good to know where that shedding down the street is." "Wait a minute," he exclaimed as a brilliant thought came into his head. "MS is none other than Mona Sachs." Chapter 6. The Subway. Max exited the door, or rather went through it, and found himself in the subway lobby. Of course it was full of pricks. Bald pricks, each and every one of them was bald. "Hey, you is..." one of the pricks said, drawing his finger across his throat. "Firing!" But Max Payn was faster. Jack Leaper's famous trick came to his rescue, and all of the pricks were where they belonged, in hell. Payn decided to keep following the railroad for some reason. He looked in one direction and saw no train coming. He looked in the other direction, no train there either. There was no third direction, so Max looked in the first direction once more, and there was a train right there, and was hurling straight at Max. "Ah!" Max Payn shouted for whatever reason and dashed off into the darkness of the tunnel. He could have climbed back up onto the station and then gone into the lobby, but he was kind of done. There was suddenly 3 pricks there, so he had no choice. One of them tried to shoot Payn, but fell down under the train wheels. The other 2 laughed uproariously, pointing at him. As the train stopped at the station, the pricks ran inside. Max didn't run far enough when the train started moving again, and it quickly caught up to him. But the brave cop agent simply jumped onto the front of the train, and soon he was riding it like Jack standing on the bow of the Titanic. Chapter 7. Train Fight. A bullet whizzed past Max Payn's ear, sent straight out of the barrel of one of the pricks' guns. Frankly, they were the only ones on the train. The car was empty and the train drove automatically. "Ah, you old prick!" Max cursed, taking out his pistol. To his surprise, he found out it was out of ammo. However, a secret agent is never hopeless, especially when he also happens to be a cop. Max pretended to have died and fell down, but instead of falling onto the tracks, he simply dove to the side onto the ground. When the train drove past, he hopped onto the back car. Quietly, Max bashed out the train car's door and snuck up on one of the pricks. Wrestling him to the floor, he took his pistol and shot the other prick, then the one he stood over. "There we are!" Payn exclaimed, fascinated by his own ingenuity. Now, he was the proud owner of a shiny subway train. Chapter 8. False Cops. The vengeful cop had to get to Downer Street, where a mysterious Alex awaited him. Max tried to find the street on the subway maps, but it wasn't there. Maybe the telegram was wrong? Was it even worth it? Suddenly, the train stopped dead in its tracks. Max Payn was flung forwards as he hit the next train car's door. "Fucking shit!" he exclaimed while getting up off the dusty metal floor, more so in disappointment rather than in pain. Even though he'd made a good long trip on the train, he still wanted to go further. Kicking the car's door open, he climbed out onto the nearby station. It was dark, so he understood that it was a subway station only after the lights suddenly came on. And when they came on, he was terrified. He saw that a whole horde of pricks was waiting there for him, armed with assault rifles. Coming back to his senses, Max noticed that those pricks were actually wearing FBI uniforms. They all pointed their weapons at him. "Freeze!" one of them shouted in a high-pitched voice. Something clicked in Payn's mind, and he pulled the trigger of his pistol. He turned around on his heels and ran off, hearing the false corpse's boots clacking against the tires behind him. Max Payn woke up in the train car again and realized that nobody was actually chasing him. "Oh, I was knocked out," he figured. He climbed back onto the subway station and, to his relief, saw a group of people in FBI uniforms. "Hey, don't shoot! I'm one of you!" he requested. "Lieutenant Max Payn?" One of the men recognized him. He had a colonel's badge. "Come closer. Report in. What's going on?" "Yes, sir," Max said, coming closer. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed that the other cops are sneakily taking aim at him. "Oh shit, it's a trap," he thought briefly. "Ready? Fire!" the colonel roared. But before he could finish his order, Max already darted off to the side, and the false cops clacked their boots against the tiles behind him. Max Payn discovered an elevator in the wall, and in a split-second decision, dove into it, bashing his head against the button. The elevator doors didn't close, and it didn't move an inch. Max got up and pressed the button again, but nothing happened. One of the pricks entered and was just about to grab Max, but quickly took a bullet to the face. "Come on, you metal bastard, move!" Max commanded, and would you believe it, the elevator followed his order. The pricks were left below to chew granite. Payn ascended to the upper floor. As the doors opened, he was greeted by a horde of bald pricks who all began pointing at him and laughing. But you never laugh at a cop secret agent. Feeling insulted, Max took the grenade off the FBI-looking prick in the elevator and flung it at the bald pricks. They all yelled, "Granaten!" and tried to kick it back, but by that time the elevator doors had already closed and Max was on his way. But halfway down the shaft, the elevator decided to brake inconveniently, and so Max Payn was stuck between the heavens and the earth. Well, actually stuck between the lower floor and the upper floor, with the corpse by his feet. Chapter 9. The Sacks Again. Suddenly, another door inside the elevator opened, and a lady entered. She seemed quite familiar, as though Max had seen her hours earlier. "Mona?" he asked. "Yes," she said coldly. It was indeed Mona Sachs. "Max, listen, I'm not," she began to say, stammering. "Don't think that it's all my work. I'll help you. We can make it out of here. We just have to—" Her sentence was cut short by a gunshot coming from behind her. Mona's eyes went wide. She opened her mouth and fell against the wall, slowly sliding down onto the floor with a bloody wound in her back. The small room in the elevator stopped at featured another prick, aiming a revolver at the woman. He began laughing uproariously, much like the others. Max Payn promptly shot him, and he also fell, though looking more like a trash bag. Payn looked at Mona and spat near her. "Ha! You freaking idiot! I know you were the one who set me up! You're a traitor, that's who you are, and a failed FBI agent!" Chapter 10. Another mission. That was that, but Max Payn wasn't going to spend the rest of his day in that elevator. He pressed all of the buttons in a row, and nothing happened. He pressed every other button, and then every other button, still nothing happened. Suddenly he found a grenade in his pocket. Awfully convenient, Max thought, pulling the pin and throwing it. But since he wasn't in close, tight space, he just kind of dropped it onto the dead cop's body. The blast shook the elevator and it plummeted down. Max, however strange it may seem, was unharmed. Moments later, he climbed out of this wreckage that was once an elevator and walked. And walked. Judging by the smell, he figured he was walking through a sewer, and somewhere in the distance he could hear what sounded like ghosts howling. Payn found a ladder and climbed it up. He emerged from the manhole in a dark alley. What was the first thing he saw? It was of course a giant billboard that read, "Max Payn, report to the department immediately for a new mission." "Oh shit, I completely forgot about my job," the secret agent cop told himself, and hurried down the street. I hated every single minute of this. This is gonna go on YouTube.